Welcome to this week's edition of Special Prosecutor with Larry Klayman. As always, we have a very hard-hitting and special prosecutor type show. But let's talk about Mueller. Mueller has created a number of situations, not just the people that he's hired, who were big donors to the Hillary Clinton campaign and formerly Barack Obama. These are political hacks that have been put in as prosecutors. But notwithstanding that, these political hacks, including Mueller, have been leaking information about grand jury proceedings to the media. We know virtually everything about what they're doing, and it's intended to damage, if not result in the impeachment of Donald Trump. Mueller, of course, is a friend of James Comey. We just learned recently, as we talked on the prior show, that Comey actually was like Karnak the Magnificent of the famous Johnny Carson Tonight Show. He came up with the conclusion with regard to the Hillary Clinton email investigation and other investigations of bribery before they were even completed. And of course, this is consistent with the way he buried a whistleblower who came forward, Dennis Montgomery, our client, who came forward with 47 hard drives, 600 million plus pages of information showing illegal mass surveillance on the American people of not just Supreme Court justices, other judges, Donald Trump and his family at the time, yours truly, and anybody who challenges this government. This is the biggest crime in American history. And Mueller before him was director of the FBI, but James Comey, who we came forward to with grant of immunity for Montgomery to talk openly and to provide this information, buried that investigation because we found out, thanks to reports by Circa News and others, that the FBI has been engaged in this illegal surveillance too. The bottom line is this, is that James Comey is a criminal. And before that, Robert Mueller, who was doing similar illegal surveillance, he's a criminal. And I am preparing, and it will be filed first thing this Monday, a complaint before the Office of Professional Responsibility at the Justice Department and also the Inspector General, which asks that Robert Mueller be removed and referred for criminal prosecution for all of these grand jury leaks. It's illegal to do this under Rule 6E of the Rules of Criminal Procedure. Now, will the Justice Department act? Maybe not, because we have an Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, who, while a very nice Southern gentleman, and I've met him many times over the years, and he's very likable, frankly has put his head in the sand. He's like an ostrich. He himself is in a defensive crouch, as I've said before, not with just regard to having reviewed what was going on with Sheriff Joe Arpaio, where President Trump had to step in to create justice by pardoning him, but Cliven Bundy. And we're going to talk about that, too, because this case is going to trial on October 10th. We're now in a critical mode of this whole prosecution. But Jeff Sessions, because he's been unfairly accused of being a racist, of course, anybody that lived in the South is a racist. People have called me that because I went to Duke University and Emory University School of Law. If you're from the South, you're racist. In fact, the reverse is true. You're probably less racist if you're in the South. Go over to southeast and northeast of Washington, D.C., and see how African Americans are allowed to live in terrible conditions by African American politicians here in Washington, D.C. And remember, President Barack Obama did nothing to help the plight of his own people other than to politic to get votes. Same for Hillary Clinton. But the Attorney General of the United States has buried his head in the sand. He himself is under criminal investigation by Mueller, also unfairly. But because of that, he doesn't want to do anything to push back against the Democrats or Mueller because he's worried it's going to push back on him. In fact, he's trying to save his own skin at the expense of the American people. And that's why Dennis Montgomery is so important. And it's why all of these leaks, grand jury leaks, mass surveillance, have not been investigated by the Sessions Justice Department. He's buried that, but he's very happy to investigate, to have Mueller. He was responsible by recusing himself and having the second in command at the Justice Department, Rod Rosenstein, appoint Mueller. Rosenstein is no Republican. He's no conservative. He was the U.S. Attorney for Maryland under Barack Obama. That was an absolute outrage, and the president was right to say that, frankly, Sessions should be gone because of that, and because of that, Rosenstein as well. But, of course, if he does that, that creates a firestorm and furthers his impeachment. He will never be impeached, but that is convicted and impeached. No president ever has been. It's a weakness in our constitutional system here that we can't remove presidents. Certainly, this president should not be removed. In my view, he's doing things right. He's doing what he thinks is best for the country. He's not worrying about the consequences. Frankly, I think he's a lot like me. He just lets it rip. And that's the way it has to be today. And that's why this show is Special Prosecutor with Larry Klayman, because we are not just regurgitating the news, we are making the news.